Alrighty, let's get down to it. It is, of course, a beautiful time where I've been promising you. We will be linking up with our people from Botswana Life, and they will be speaking to us this morning about the launch of a very important service, of course, that hopefully by the end of the conversation you'll be very well conversant with. We've got joining us this morning, Refilwe Mogwe, who is joining us alongside Ronald Samuels. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
We're very good and excited to have you join us yet again this morning, sir.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm expecting to hear a little bit more from yourselves, actually, the Botswana Life CEO, Mr. Ronald Samuels, as well as the fiduciary specialist, Refilwe Mogwe. I don't know what fiduciary services means, but I'm hoping that some of you, or maybe one of you, will actually kickstart the conversation with exactly that. Tell us what on earth it is.
Bertio, thank you so much, and a very good morning to your listeners. Thank you very much for hosting and having Refilwe and myself online. As Botswana Life, we are very, very excited this morning as we launch our brand new subsidiary called Botswana Life Fiduciary Services. And you are quite right. Many people say, but what is fiduciary services? And let me quickly try and delve into that. Now, Buto, if we currently have a look, I think the easiest way to explain it is, first and foremost, we have seen a huge need in the market in Botswana. Now, many of our people, if you don't have a last will and testament when you pass on, what happens is you die interstate. And Refilwe will talk a little bit what that means.
Right.
But what it in essence means, Boto, is that if anybody passes on interstate, all the assets that you've gathered over time, the government has to step in and then try and wind up your estate. Now, that is if you don't have a legal will and last will and testament in place.
Right.
Now let me bring it back to Botswana Life Fiduciary Services. So there is a big need. Most people, unfortunately, in Botswana, don't have a will in place, and hence the fact that they die interstate, causing huge problems and disputes in family lives. So what we have seen, we've seen this need, and so if I go back to Botswana Life Fiduciary Services, a brand new subsidiary company, really exclusively focusing on estate planning.
Right.
And maybe estate planning is the other aspect I must just quickly mention. What estate planning is we've all gathered assets in our lifetime.
Right.
Now, just for the listeners, our assets could be our house, it could be our car, could be a policy, could be your pension, could be anything that you've gathered over time deemed an asset. Now, all that estate planning is the orderly planning in your lifetime of your estate and your assets as to what will happen with it when you're not there one day. As opposed to having no plan, and then what happens? You die interstate. So I hope that then clears up what estate planning is, and the umbrella term for the fiduciary services offering is estate planning. We offer Botswana now estate planning. So if I then take it down into the different offerings that come under the estate plan, like I said, that is really the gathering of your estate. It's the umbrella term for the last will and testament, and that is really what talks to you when you're not there one day. Then the other service is our trust services. Many of our clients have trusts, which they set up for their minor children. We also then help with the setting up and the administering of trust. And there's various trusts which we'll take our customers through depending on their needs. And then what we do as the third offering under our estate planning and fiduciary offering is the administering, the orderly and professional administering of a deceased estate.
Right.
So if somebody passes on, we use our capability to wind up the estate in a professional and proficient way to take that burden off our customers. So these are very important instruments, Butu, in ensuring a stable and a long-term financial stability of your family. As I said, Many people, unfortunately, leave this very important aspect of estate planning unattended.
Absolutely.
And that leads to disagreements and disputes, as I said earlier on. And more tragically, it results many times in many of the children who you have sought to provide for out in the cold with assets not being distributed as you intended. So lastly, Botswana Life Fiduciary Services is there to guide and to help our clients to ensure that their last wishes are fulfilled.
Right. Well, very interesting service indeed, because like you did say, there's been a bone of contention in so many families nowadays because of the unavailability of the will or the documents that basically tell you who is entitled to what if you were to go and be with the Lord. Maybe let's just try and educate our listeners a little bit more on what a will is, because I think a lot of us just take it as a statement that tells you, okay, this is what I have, and this is what I want to give to so and so if I were to be away from this world. So what would you say a will is then, and what would be the benefits of having a will, Mogwe?
Okay. Thank you very much, Butu, for that question, and thank you for the listeners at home present today. A will is, I think the simplest way I like putting it is it is a compass. As you know, what a compass is, it's something that gives you direction.
Right.
So when you are not there, a will is that thing, say, would show you, okay, fine, and in your absence, this is where we are going to go. And as Mr. Samuels normally says that when we are having internal engagements, is a will is that thing that is your mouthpiece when you can no longer speak for yourself.
Right.
It just doesn't deal with your assets. It basically covers aspects of guardianship. I think Mr. Samuels also mentioned that, to say, well, guardianship is basically who takes care of your children in your absence. Right, and this is a very important aspect for those of us who have minor children. You don't just want to appoint anyone to be a guardian over your children, because this is somebody who's going to impart certain values in your absence on these children. This is somebody who's going to take care of whatever it is that you've given them, in the form of if they have to take it from the trustees and ensure that their school fees are paid. This is the person who receives all of that.
Right.
So we also help our clients think about this a lot, to say, okay, fine, give much thought to whom it is that you want to appoint as a guardian. You also get to talk about your burial directions. How you wish to be buried. Do you even wish to be buried? Some people want to be cremated.
Right.
And cremation, we're basically talking about where your bodily remains are burnt, and there's a certain, ritual or process of ensuring that your bodily remains are dealt with. Do you want to be buried at a family burial site or next to your spouse? You get to talk about those things. You get to talk about who's your executor. Your executor is basically that person who winds up your affairs. This is the person who temporarily, steps in your shoes to ensure that your affairs are, as Mr. Samuels has said, orderly, transferred from your estate into the hands of the hands of the people that you intend to receive. And it also talks about, as you go through the will drafting process, you get to consider a lot, right? You get to consider who would otherwise, benefit from your estate, whether you actually want that person to benefit from your estate. You get to think about what other means you can employ to protect your beneficiaries, including your minor children, and much, much more. So when our listeners are home, I just want them to think about a will as that thing that is more like a compass, a thing that gives direction as to what should happen to your estate.
And I know there's normally a misconception about some of these services that you've highlighted are for maybe the exclusive few. What would you say the benefits are for having some of these services that you've highlighted?
So Butu, that's very true. There's a big misconception that these are really only products for the wealthy. And the point I just want to make is we all have assets. Yes, those assets can differ in value, but we all have assets. So as long as you've got assets and you've got family, and you've got people that you want to leave your life savings and workings for, there is a need for a will. So I want to get rid of that misconception that it's only for the wealthy. It benefits all. And as we grow older, we accumulate more assets, we have more responsibilities with loved ones. So therefore, as we continue to grow, it's very important that we prioritize our financial stability and ensure the sustainability of our loved ones. I can't overemphasize that. And whether you're a single parent, entrepreneur, whether you're about to retire, whether you're at the beginning of your career, or whether you're coming to the end of your career, it is never too late to sit down and have a proper estate plan put in place to make sure that everything that you've accumulated and everything that you've worked for and everybody that you love is well taken care of into the future.
Absolutely. And as I believe it, you're launching it today, right?
Emma, that's correct. Yes, we're launching it. We have done a soft launch internally for the past couple of weeks to make sure that all our processes are working and that we are able to make sure that when we open up our doors to the public, we can flow seamlessly. So we are ready to assist with Botswana with looking at the estate planning and their fiduciary needs.
Mm-hmm. And what sort of additional information as well would you imagine Botswana to need to know specific to this arm of business?
We just want Botswana to be assured that we are a dedicated team of professionals here to guide them through their needs, their specific needs. We also appreciate that there is no one-stop-gap measure or solution to each and every individual need. So we are willing to take each and every person here in Botswana as they are and try and help them to take care of this very, very important aspect of their lives. We also encourage our clients to get in touch with their financial advisors to actually, see how they can reach out to us and close this very important aspect of their lives.
Right. So if somebody is listening and they're not necessarily your clients, what happens essentially, and if they are your clients as well, sum it up with what they need to do to partake from these great services you've mentioned this morning.
Refilwe, you can answer that.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Summers. Yes, so they can get, first, if you're an existing client of Botswana Life, you will probably have what we call a financial advisor who basically helps you get all your Botswana Life products. This person should be in a position then to say, well, this is how they will take you basically through what we call an estate planning, analysis, where they say, okay, fine, how are you setting? Because estate planning is really just, as Mr. Sanders has said, a very huge thing. We don't want to just give you a will, which then in the event that when it's time to execute your estate, we find that there are so many other gaps that have been created by you going a long life and just accumulating property and not really taking cognizance of the fact that maybe you need to save something on the side and so on and so forth. So your financial advisor would be there to ensure that you are okay in terms of the financial perspective, because estate planning is much bigger. And then once you've gone through all of that, they will connect you with us to say, okay, fine, we're satisfied that our client is good, and they can therefore go ahead and get a will through us. The service, the drafting of the will itself, is completely free.
Right.
All that we're going to ask our client is to, because given the sensitivity of this document called a will, we would want to assist you in, keeping this document in custody for you, and we would only request that you pay a nominal fee of 200 pula per annum. That is once a year, 200 pula just for drafting your will, and then we can take it from there.
And how often can you change your will, though? Just out of interest.
Good question.
Great question.
Yeah.
Should I take it, Mr. Samuel?
You're welcome.
So yeah. So we normally say it's important to, review your will as and when your life circumstances change. What could those be? Basically, if you have a child, that means you have more people or one extra new person who would be directly linked to yourself. If you experience death, unfortunately, if your financial circumstances change, your asset base increases or decreases, there might be a need to actually just go through that process and review, because you may that you can't self-diagnose. So you probably need to go and see us as professionals to see, okay, fine, maybe you are not looking at this in this way, so let us try and help you, close this particular thing. So life circumstance change, or maybe you can decide to do it annually or every other 2 years, but it is really, really dependent on how your life circumstances are changing, basically.
Incredible stuff. Your last words, Mr. Samuel?
Emma, thank you so much. And Refilwe, thank you for answering those questions. As you can see, Boto, we've got a very experienced fiduciary team. Refilwe is qualified legally. She's supported by a strong technical partner in the background. So we are really there from very easy will to the most complex estates we can deal with. I think it's very important, if I could in my last words parting just say to customers that you can contact your financial advisor or broker. We have accredited a number of advisors and brokers over the past 2 months to assist you to take in your will instruction. It will then come through to Refilwe and our team, who will set up the will in a number of days and then provide you with a will that you have to sign in a certain way and provide back to us. As you mentioned, there's only a 200 kula safe custody fee for that. And very importantly, what the job of the financial advisor and broker will be is to go take your will instruction, but also to do a estate calculation to make sure that your last expenses and taxes and so forth are covered, so that the will can be administered. The last thing I would like to say, Boto, first and foremost, is on behalf of Botswana Life, a huge thank you to Botswana for their support, their loyal support over the past 45 years. We take this responsibility very seriously. Hence the launch of our new subsidiary business called Botswana Life Fiduciary Services, as we seek ways to find value. This new service really was inspired by our need and our vision to create legacies for Botswana. This is the beginning of a very exciting journey, and as Botswana now starts to prioritize their estate planning, we as Botswana Life and the Botswana Life Fiduciary Services business, we are honored to help, to guide and to assist, and more importantly, to document and to implement our clients' final wishes.
Right.
Thank you very much for the time this morning.
Absolutely incredible. Thank you for speaking to us this morning. I'm hoping also that our lovely customers, or those that are potential customers, will ensure they take it upon themselves as well to do that which is necessary. Thank you.